Welcome to another edition of Photo Enthusiastic. I'm your host, Jim Fair. Nikon has a surprise. Well, it was hardly a surprise because we did see the leaks suddenly come out about a week ago. But Nikon's new ZFC, or ZFC if you prefer, mirrorless camera has been released, or announced, I suppose. I don't know when it's shipping exactly. But it definitely looks like Nikon's taking aim at Fujifilm and their market for retro cameras with APS-C sensors. So what's different about this camera compared to, say, a Fujifilm camera? Well, it's a Nikon. It's based on the Nikon FM, an old film camera which I've used in the past. I've also used the FE, the FE2, the FM3A. They're all very, very similar film cameras with knobs and dials on the top. So you have actual shutter speed, exposure compensation, and so on, and ISO. Aperture, I'm not sure. I think you have to use a control wheel for that. So it's quite fascinating to see, and the DX, or the APS-C crop sensor camera market, is a perfect place to try this as an experiment. So what's lacking in this first version would be IBIS, in-body image stabilization is missing. But at the price point I think these are going to be, that's not a big surprise. This sensor is basically the equivalent of the D500 sensor, which is the equivalent of the Z50 sensor. So 20.9 megapixels, does 4K video all the way up to 30p, does 1K video up to 120 frames per second, and supports all those various modes, including 24p. So what's not to like? You know, I guess it's going to be aimed at the lower half of the market. It's kind of aimed at two markets at once. So it's entry level and experienced photographer with that nostalgia advantage that this design has. Very much like Fujifilm, again. And you can even get it in different colors, which is kind of nice. So it's nice to see Nikon putting out something that seems fairly frivolous on the surface, you know. But I mean, there is a demand for this kind of camera from Nikon, and I think the camera will do well, IBIS or not, because, you know, if you don't have IBIS, you just use some sort of stabilization for your video, or you use a faster shutter speed. Some of the lenses have VR built in. So you have two kit options in terms of lenses. There's a 16 to 50 variable zoom, and there is a 28 to 8, I believe, which is the equivalent of, you know, about 40 millimeters. So nice street photography style kit, and it says colors will be available in limited quantities, so I don't know what that means. But it's all good news from my perspective. What do you think? Is this camera interesting to you? Would you pick this up as a second body for your full frame Z series? So I think it's kind of cool. You know, I'm a little disappointed it's not a 24 megapixel sensor. I'm not a big fan of 20 megapixels as a particular spot, but you know, it's a resolution and it works, and it's got good low light, excellent low light performance, as well as full readout video off the sensor. So, you know, the lower that megapixel number, the easier it is to handle the video side of things. So I think it'll do well. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. That's all I have to say. Thanks for watching. Fade out.